Hey everyone, my name is Riley with Morphoenix Energy Healing, and today I am joined with Garrett, and we are going to be doing a Reiki session. So I just wanted to show you a bit of how it's done. So yeah, let's get started. How I usually do my Reiki sessions is I'll greet you, welcome you in, see if you need any water, anything like that, and then we'll just talk for just a little bit, make sure you have your forms filled out, and then afterwards I will have you get onto the Reiki bed, and that's when I will do the aura scanning, the blessing, and then I will get into the Reiki energy healing session. Afterwards, I'll wake you back up, and then we'll be joined back over here to sit down and talk about anything that I saw, any messages I got, and just share those with you so we can have a better understanding of what it is that came up during the session. So now I'm going to have Garrett get onto the Reiki bed. So get this set up for you. And this is how all clients, they'll just get on the Reiki bed and get comfortable, get relaxed. I'll have some relaxing music playing as well. How I like to begin the Reiki session is with a blessing, and then I will go through and do the aura and chakra scanning, and that's when I will begin doing the intuitive energy healing. Source, God, Gaia Divine, I call upon the highest and most sacred spiritual energies. We ask that our spirit guides, ascended masters, ancestors, and archangels be with us on this day. We ask that you be our guide, share love, healing, and wisdom with us in this sacred space. I am here before you today as a clear and open channel for your healing rays of light to come through. We allow for your infinite frequency to cleanse and expel any dense energies that block the flow of our life force through our mind, body, and spirit. We warmly accept these energies and set aside our expectations of how our healing journey will unfold. We allow for this process to take place through our dedication of being present for ourselves to receive healing and allow for miracles to come into our reality. Thank you for your infinite blessings of love, abundance, and healing. Amen. I will now ask your higher self for permission for this healing today. I'll begin scanning the chakras, starting at the crown, moving to the third eye, into the throat chakra, to the heart, and the solar plexus, and the sacral, and the root chakra. I will close out this session by reactivating his chakras and his aura. Hey Garrett, welcome back. So in a bit we will go sit back down, and I'm going to give Garrett some time to wake back up, and we'll see you there. Welcome back. So now we are going to be talking through everything that we both experienced, and because during these Reiki sessions there's always going to be these nuances that are different between our experiences, and how they come together is really beautiful. So we're going to be talking through that now. As a Reiki practitioner, I get visions when I'm working on different chakras and energy centers. And so when I was doing the scanning, I saw a lot of the sacral chakra calling out to being activated, having an activation. So I was really working on that, and that has to do with like our sexuality, our sensuality, things like that. And so I was really feeling called to that specific chakra today. And so it does also have to do a little bit with our creativity as well. So yeah, those are all great things. And so yeah, I was feeling called to that energy center, as well as your crown and your heart chakra. I felt a huge connection there. And then when I had noticed also that green is often associated with the heart chakra and purple is with the crown chakra, and when I saw that you were wearing those colors as well, I was like, okay, this is right. And so that's when I was on the top of your head and at your heart. Those were when I was connecting those energy centers. And it's really interesting to be thinking about how our chakras are all interconnected in different ways, and they have different relationships with one another, and how with your crown chakra, that's your messages coming in from your, like, we call them downloads, like the things that come to you and you're like, oh, this is great. And even just like your relationship with God, the divine, creation, however you think of that, it's that relationship with that as well. And our hearts is like how we, how these messages, how they make us feel as well. So like when you're getting those, and it's that relationship of those downloads coming in and how it makes you feel in your heart and all that good stuff. So when I was working on your crown chakra to begin with, the message that I got, and it was the very first one, is your time is now. And so I was really feeling called to share that with you. And so your time is now.
Oh, wow. My time.
Your time is now. It's not now. It's not later.
Later.
It's now.
It didn't pass.
Yes. And so also when I was working on your third eye chakra, I was seeing this sort of purple crown. It was a purple crown. And so it just looked very like, it was reminding me of very king energy. So stepping into your king energy.
Don't feed my ego like that.
Well, it's good. You should stand in your power and feel good. You should.
I actually have a lot to say about that. That's funny.
Okay. So yeah. And so how about you just share?
Okay.
Share. Yeah.
So, it's interesting that you we're getting king energy with the crown chakra, because I'm normally not a New Year's resolution person, but I just with things that have been unfolding in my life over the past few months, I felt like I had been in a place of stagnation, and like there was some sort of blockage that was preventing me from feeling free. Just free emotionally, as well as really stepping out and acting on things that my intuition may have been calling me towards for a minute now, but have been kind of laying in wait and just holding myself back from really doing the things that bring me happiness, because ultimately happiness is a choice, and it can be harder to choose it some days than others, depending on what we're going through in life. Sometimes we can get in our own heads and have these blinders on to what our reality really is, and we might be holding on to things that make us comfortable, and in order to be in alignment with where it is that we want to go and walk on the path that we're meant to walk to, um, we have to let go of those things that we feel like are serving to us because they have been at one point at a time, but recognizing that, okay, this is something that is no longer of use to me in my life, and it's time for me to transition into a new part of my life and continue on that journey of growth and discovery. It is something that is really important for us to step into, and it is something that I've come to a revelation about and have been enlightened to. So I feel like I lifted a weight off of my shoulders coming into the new year. Like, I was holding on to a lot of stagnation. And yesterday specifically, I had a moment where I really just released. I was just like, you know what, I'm allowing this weight to come off my shoulders, and this is just something that I'm no longer going to let take up as much mental space as it had been taking up. And yeah, I'm just releasing, letting go, and I'm also stepping into my curious nature, because what my resolution was to live a more creative life and to just do things to spark inspiration and creativity in those everyday moments in life. And you know the thing that I feel sparks creativity is inspiration. And in order to be inspired, you have to be curious and ask questions and just be open to whatever your environment brings to you. And so I've just been making it a point to tap back into my creativity, because I feel like with that rut that I was in, I wasn't allowing myself to be the creative person that has gotten me to a certain point in life that has made me come to a place of confidence that I had been at up to that point, which was a journey for me in and of itself, because I used to lack a lot of confidence. So being that creative person, like expressing yourself in that type of outlet, really just, for me, it brings that out of me. And I do believe that it does that for everybody. And I felt like I had been denying that part of myself. So I've been very intentional about getting back to that and just doing things that allow me to express myself in that way, and not allowing myself to get into my head and put pressure to perform a certain way, but just being confident in what I've learned up until this point in my life and going from there. So
because the intuition is there, the downloads are coming in, what you need to be doing. And I'm so happy that I worked on specifically your crown, your heart, and your sacral chakra today, because it seems like everything that you've said is very in alignment with wanting to. It's like the thing that I kept thinking about is when we do things that make us uncomfortable, but we know it's a part of the downloads, the intuition that we have about what we should be pursuing, that is the right thing. And we find more joy in doing those things that make us feel uncomfortable, because once we get past the uncomfortable feeling that begins with it, and then we realize we've got through it, then it's like such an amazing feeling going forward. And so I'm really happy that I worked on those chakras for you today. And
I appreciate you.
yes, of course. Yes. And I was trying to think of some other things that I had seen. I gave you most of everything that I saw in the healing today. I also generally worked on your other chakras as well. I do a specific technique on the root chakra at your feet where I pull back, and I was seeing like a shift. And when I see that, it's really great, because I can tell that when I think of the root chakra, it's a lot of how we feel on a very core level of who we are. And I know I've referred to this in our other sessions as well. It's how we feel at a very core level. And I was seeing like I can almost like see it happening like in my actual eyes, like seeing the shift of like it's almost like a snake shedding its skin. And it's really cool because this year is the year of the snake for the Chinese zodiac, so that's awesome. And so yeah, it's like shedding our skin, and releasing, like you were saying, what is no longer serving us for who we want to be. And that's really important. That's why snakes do it, is they're releasing their skin so they can have their new skin there. And yeah. Yeah, another thing that I wanted to add was throughout the session, I was also noticing themes of masculine and feminine energies coming through as far as balancing them between yourself. And I was seeing for this session, the first session that we had done together, I was seeing that there was an emergence of a masculine energy showing through, and like understanding what that was like for you. And that's really like our will and showing up and building and creating and doing all of those things, and that's that masculine energy. And the feminine energy is like our intuition and how things make us feel. And so this session I was seeing an emphasis on balancing those two and feeling empowered in those two. I know I was referencing king energy as well. You can totally have king energy as well as knowing that you have these feminine aspects as well about yourself that allow you to excel in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing to have that balance of both. And so I was seeing an emphasis on that during this session.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if you had anything to say about that.
No, I was saying like the reason why like I was laughing at first when you were talking about the crown chakras, because like I consume a lot of podcasts. And I watched two podcasts in particular where one was the main message was basically talking about how you're lit in 2025. Like, we're lit in 2025. Like, we are not doubting ourselves. Yes. We aren't telling ourselves those self-deprecating messages or feeling like we're not enough. We're giving ourselves our flowers and thanking ourselves for showing up and getting ourselves to this point in life. Like, transitioning from one stage in life into another and taking those lessons with you and being a much stronger person is something that is very commendable. And I feel like everybody in life can look at one point that they were at and be like, wow, like I came from here. And just think about what you didn't even know that was in you and what you thought wasn't in the realm of possibility for you at that point, and then look at where you are now and think to yourself, okay, so I might be having these things where I am in a spiral and feeling like I can't move forward into this direction now, but I also thought that back then, and look where I am now. So like, yeah, just giving yourself your flowers and being lit. Like, we are lit this year. Yeah. And then I saw another podcast basically defining the ego and how it means, like, a lot of times when people hear the word ego, it can be like very jolting, be like, oh, like egotistical as far as putting other people down or thinking that you are better than others and putting yourself on this pedestal, not acknowledging others out of insecurity because you feel like you need to compare yourself to others and feel like you are the absolute best in order to feel worthy. But they basically went through this new definition of ego and how essentially our ego is our identity and our sense of self. Like, you being an individual and having certain interests and hobbies and just thinking about how you show up in the world and how you relate to others, like that is your ego. And basically saying having the ego is having self-respect, not downplaying yourself, knowing that if you have skills, that those skills are of value, and if you are competent in something, instead of sitting back and pretending like you aren't or not acknowledging those skills, to acknowledge them and be like, I have these skills, I am a talented person, and I can go forward with this. And even if you don't know the most in the world about something, you know what you know, and having confidence in that and expressing yourself in that way is what is going to help you gain more knowledge. But like, basically, it was this podcaster who is very comedic in nature, and they have like a certain sarcasm that you have to get the humor to get it, but he basically was saying like, bro, in 2025 we're having egos. Like we aren't sitting around and
Yeah.
being insecure, like not having self-respect. So if having self-respect is an ego, then I have an ego. Like fuck that humble shit. In 2025 we have egos.
Yeah.
So basically, like I've been saying to myself for the past few days now, like I'm lit and fuck that humble shit. I have an ego now.
Yes.
But like just in that quirky way.
Yeah, and I can add something to that as well. Yeah, when I think of ego, I definitely think of it's what makes us individuals. It makes us what we all have different skills and things that we come into this life to offer, and it's about discovering what that is for ourselves as well. And that just takes time of like understanding that. And when people say ego death, that's like a popular term. Um, we can have ego death. What it truly means is you're dissolving who you think that you are to remember who you really are and what you
I love that.
and so yeah, and so I've personally gone through an ego death before, and that's a lot of my journey of that was understanding again and remembering who I am and what I came into this life to do. And here I am doing energy healing. And when I was younger, it wasn't something that I immediately thought I was going to be doing when I was older, when I had been around the sun more times. And so it makes sense now, though. I've seen it when I would do energy healings on myself, and it was just something so innate to me. When I would have headaches, I would be able, there's a YouTube video of me saying, a fun fact about myself is that I can heal my headaches. And like, it was when I was like 16 or something, and I had made that. And I remembered saying that and remember being like, this is going to be important one day, and I haven't figured out why yet. And so looking back on it now,
you know why.
looking back on it now, I'm like, I know why it's important now is because I was doing that for myself at a young age, and now I'm offering it to others. And it truly fulfills me on such a deep level. And that does have so much to do with who I am, my ego, my identity. And I'm so happy to be offering that to other people now and helping them along their healing and wellness journey. So it's amazing that we got to share this space today, and I was able to help you heal and, articulate energies that, you're processing and thinking through. And so I'm very grateful that you were here today. And yes. So is there anything you'd like to add?
I just want to thank you for providing me with this as well. I love the stuff that you pick up on and how it provides a mirror for me to look into and to just reaffirm myself and the path that I'm on and stay true to that and not abandon myself or feel like I need to do anything else, but to just kind of fortify that self-trust. So thank you for providing that to me.
Yes. Of course, King. That's the message is your King energy. So yes. And thank you everybody for joining me today. I hope this was helpful so you can understand better of how I do my Reiki sessions. And if you'd like to book a session, I'll leave the link down below to my website. It's morephoenix.com. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you again, Garrett, for joining us.
Of course.
Yeah, so I also wanted to give a shout out to Garrett again. And also, where can they find you online?
Yeah, so I have a podcast that is called Too Busy Being Worthy, where I talk about conscious living and mindfulness and how me and my lovely co-host named Anna, we are just kind of navigating our 20s, how we feel about the things that come up in life and how we process those things. Because I feel like a lot of times when we are in our 20s, we can be very moving as if our head is on a swivel, not knowing which direction to go, or feeling like maybe if we are going after certain things, feeling like we need to be at a certain place by a certain time. And then if we don't reach that, we can maybe go through things like disappointment or shame, guilt, whatever the thing may be. But just kind of me and her, we share our journey of how we move through our 20s in peace and just about how to walk through life in peace and how no matter what situation comes up, you can draw the lesson that you need to draw from it. And it is up to you what you do with that. And ultimately, it's about just being empowered, knowing your inherent worth as a person, and you, as well as all of us, are too busy being worthy. And you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Too Busy Being Worthy. TOOBUSYBING. Wait, BEING. Worthy.
We'll put it in the bio.
Yeah, it'll be there.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, thank you again. And I love seeing your podcast, and it's so great having insightful, grounded voices for people like us in our 20s and speaking up, and being those voices for people to listen to and to know that we're all working through this together. And it's so lovely to see. So, yeah, and thank you again for joining me. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.